Imagine a place where trees twist into impossible shapes, where electronic devices fail without warning, and where those who venture too deep emerge with unexplained burns, scratches, and a terrifying sense of lost time. A place whispered to be a gateway to another dimension, a landing pad for UFOs and home to unseen entities that watch from the shadows. Welcome to the Hoia Baciu Forest. Nestled in the heart of Transylvania, Romania, near the city of Cluj-Napoca, lies a forest unlike any other. For centuries, locals have avoided it, telling tales of missing shepherds, vanished villagers, and a pervading sense of dread. Its very name, Hoia Baciu, comes from a shepherd who, according to legend, disappeared within its depths with his entire flock of 200 sheep, never to be seen again. But it's not just ancient folklore that makes this forest infamous. Modern accounts have cemented its reputation as one of the world's most active paranormal hotspots. What makes Hoia Baciu so terrifying are the consistent, undeniable anomalies reported by countless visitors, researchers, and even skeptical scientists. The trees themselves are a mystery. Many grow in bizarre, corkscrew shapes defying natural botanical explanations. Some believe this distortion is a physical manifestation of the energetic forces at play. Visitors often report sudden drops in temperature, inexplicable electromagnetic field, EMF spikes, and even the feeling of being watched or touched by an unseen presence. Electronic devices frequently malfunction or die completely within the forest's boundaries, only to work perfectly once outside. Perhaps the most disturbing phenomenon is the lost time effect. People have entered the forest convinced they've only been inside for minutes, only to discover hours have passed, and what they experience during those lost hours can be truly horrifying. The sheer volume of personal testimonies is chilling. Take the story of Alexander Sift, a biologist who in the 1960s extensively photographed the forest. His pictures often revealed strange, shadowy figures and unexplained lights, objects that were not visible to the naked eye when he took the photo. Then there's the famous case of the 5-year-old girl who vanished into the forest for 5 years, only to reappear in the exact same spot, wearing the same clothes, and having not aged a day. She had no memory of where she had been, or the countless reports of unexplained physical effects: nausea, intense anxiety, skin rashes, migraines, and even scratches and burns that appear without any logical cause. It's as if something within the forest is actively hostile to human presence. As if ghostly apparitions and time warps weren't enough, Hoia Baciu is also a renowned UFO hotspot. The most famous incident occurred in 1968 when military technician Emil Barnea captured clear photographs of a saucer-shaped object hovering silently above the forest. Many believe the forest acts as a natural energy vortex, attracting these unexplained aerial phenomena. Is it a landing site, a portal, or something far more complex that we simply can't comprehend? So what could possibly explain such a confluence of bizarre occurrences? Theories abound, but one thing is clear: something profoundly unnatural is at work in the Hoia Baciu Forest. Despite its terrifying reputation, or perhaps because of it, Hoia Baciu continues to draw thrill-seekers, paranormal investigators, and the morbidly curious from around the globe. But those who venture in are often met with more than just an adrenaline rush. The forest is not merely a collection of strange phenomena, it's an entity unto itself, ancient and watchful. Are you ready to enter? Every haunted place has an origin story, a foundational legend that sets the stage for everything that follows. For Hoia Baciu, that story is as old as the hills it covers. The forest is named after a shepherd, or Baciu, who, according to local legend, ventured into the woods centuries ago. He wasn't just taking a casual stroll, he was guiding his flock of 200 sheep. It was a journey he had likely made countless times before, knowing the paths and clearings like the back of his hand. But this time was different. This time the forest had other plans for him and his entire flock. The story goes that the shepherd walked into the dense trees and simply never came out. He vanished without a trace. Concerned villagers organized search parties, combing the woods for days, then weeks. They called his name until their voices were hoarse and searched for any sign of his passage. A dropped staff, a piece of torn clothing, a single one of his 200 sheep. They found nothing. It was as if the man, his dogs, and his entire flock had been swallowed whole by the forest, erased from existence. The woods offered no clues, no answers, just an unnerving, profound silence where a man and his animals should have been. This legend became the first and most enduring warning to the people living near Cluj-Napoca. From that day forward, locals began to fear the woods. They saw it not as a place of nature and resources, but as a place of danger and disappearance. They believed that once you entered its depths, there was no guarantee you would ever come out again. The story of the lost shepherd cemented Hoia Baciu's reputation as a cursed place, a patch of land that takes things and never gives them back. It was the first piece of a puzzle that would only grow more complex and terrifying over time. This tale isn't just a ghost story, it's the very soul of the forest's mystery. It raises the fundamental question that hangs over Hoia Baciu to this day. Where did he go? Was he a victim of wild animals? Did he simply get lost? Or did he stumble upon something else entirely? A portal, a rift in time, an unseen force that claimed him. The lack of any evidence, especially the complete disappearance of 200 sheep, is what makes the story so chilling and believable to many. It set the precedent for all the strange disappearances and lost time events that would be reported in the centuries to come. Walking into Hoia Baciu is like stepping onto the set of a Tim Burton movie. The first thing you notice, the thing that immediately tells you something is off, are the trees. These aren't your typical majestic oaks, beeches reaching straight for the sky. Many of the trees in this forest grow in bizarre, unnatural patterns. They are twisted into corkscrew shapes, bent at sharp 90-degree angles along the ground, grow in strange clockwise spirals as if they're trying to escape something in the soil. It's a botanical anomaly that has baffled botanists and biologists for decades, a silent, woody testament to the forest's inherent strangeness. This arboreal weirdness is concentrated in certain areas, creating pockets of the forest that feel distinctly alien. In some spots you'll find pairs of trees that seem to be intertwined, growing together as if they are one. In other areas, entire groves of trees are bent in the same direction, as if a powerful invisible force once swept through and permanently warped their growth. Scientists have taken soil samples and studied the environment, but they have found no diseases, no chemical imbalances, and no logical explanation for why these trees grow in such a contorted fashion. They are healthy, yet they are deformed in a way that defies the known laws of botany. But the strangeness isn't just visual. As you walk among these crooked giants, many people report a host of unsettling physical sensations. It starts with a sudden drop in temperature, a cold spot that hangs in the air even on a warm day. Then comes the feeling of being watched, a primal sense of unseen eyes following your every move. Visitors often speak of a sudden overwhelming wave of anxiety or dread that washes over them for no apparent reason. Others report dizziness, intense headaches, or a strange metallic taste in their mouths. These feelings often appear in specific hotspots and vanish just as quickly when you move a few feet away. This combination of bizarre sights and unsettling feelings creates an atmosphere of profound unease. It's one thing to hear a ghost story, but it's another thing entirely to feel your body reacting to an unseen force. Your own senses become unreliable witnesses. In Hoia Baciu, you can't trust what you see, and you certainly can't trust what you feel. The forest seems to actively play tricks on your mind and body. Deep within the unsettling woods of Hoia Baciu lies its most famous and enigmatic feature, a clearing. This isn't just any clearing though. It's a nearly perfect circle in the forest floor, a patch of land where, for reasons unknown, almost nothing grows. While the surrounding forest is dense with trees and lush undergrowth, this circular clearing remains stubbornly barren. It's often called the Poiana Rotunda, or the Round Meadow. Locals, however, have a more ominous name for it. They call it the Dead Zone. For centuries, this strange patch of earth has been the epicenter of the forest's paranormal activity. Scientists have been fascinated and frustrated by this clearing for years. They have taken countless soil samples and run extensive tests, searching for any toxin radiation chemical anomaly. The results? Nothing. The soil in the clearing is chemically identical to the soil in the lush forest just a few feet away, where trees and plants thrive. There is no scientific reason for this spot to be so barren. It's as if an invisible barrier marks the edge of the circle, and inside that boundary, the fundamental rules of life and nature simply don't apply. It's a sterile wound in the heart of a living forest. This clearing is not just a botanical mystery, it's a paranormal hotspot. Visitors who step into the circle report the most intense and bizarre experiences in the entire forest. This is where many of the glowing orbs and strange lights are most frequently seen, often appearing at dusk and hovering silently over the barren ground before vanishing. It's also where people report hearing disembodied voices, whispers in languages they can't understand, and even female laughter echoing from the trees when no one else is around. Many paranormal investigators believe this clearing acts as a focal point for whatever energy or entity resides in Hoia Baciu. It's the place where people believe portals to other dimensions might open and close. Stepping into the circle feels like stepping into another world. Whatever is happening in this forest, its heart beats strongest in this silent, empty circle. The story of the lost shepherd was just the beginning. Over the years, Hoia Baciu has become infamous. Missing people, lost time. One of the most famous modern cases involves a 5-year-old girl. She wandered away from her parents near the edge of the forest. She disappeared. A massive search was launched. Hundreds of volunteers. Police. They searched for days, fearing the worst. The forest had claimed another victim, it seemed. 5 years later, the impossible happened. The girl reappeared. She walked out of the same woods. She wore the exact same clothes she'd had the day she vanished. The clothes were clean, with no wear or tear. Most astonishingly, she hadn't aged at all. She was still 5, with no memory of where she'd been. To her, it felt like only a few moments had passed. The tale became a cornerstone of the forest's legend. Time did not flow normally inside those trees. It blurs the line between reality and science fiction. This isn't isolated. Many visitors report smaller, lost time experiences. Hikers enter for what they think is a 1-hour walk. They emerge to find 3 hours have passed. Other groups emerge to find 4 hours have passed. Their watches show the correct time, their phones show the correct time, but their internal sense of time is shattered. They have no memory of those missing hours. It's not distraction. It's like hours were plucked from existence, leaving a blank. The opposite happens too. Some feel they've spent an entire day in the woods, then check their phones, only an hour went by. This temporal distortion is one of the forest's most disorienting, frightening aspects. It suggests the forest follows its own physical laws. Biologist Alexandru Sif began studying the phenomena in the 1950s, collecting meticulous stories of lost time, convinced something extraordinary was at play. The mysteries of Hoia Baciu aren't just confined to the ground. For decades, the skies above the forest have been just as active and strange. The area has become a hotspot for UFO sightings, silent, glowing objects, strange aerial phenomena dating back to the mid-20th century. But one event stands above all others, an incident that put Hoia Baciu on the international map for ufologists and paranormal researchers. It happened on August 18, 1968, and it involves a military technician named Emil Barnia. He was out in the woods with his girlfriend and 2 friends, hoping for a relaxing weekend away from the city. Barnia and his friends were in a clearing preparing to gather firewood when they heard a sudden commotion. His friends called out to him, pointing frantically at the sky. There, hovering silently above the treetops, was a large metallic disc-shaped object. It shimmered in the afternoon sun, making no sound at all. As a technician, Barnia was a man of logic and reason, but what he was seeing defied all explanation. Thinking fast, he grabbed his camera and managed to snap 4 photographs of the object, before it suddenly accelerated at an incredible speed and vanished. He had just captured what would become some of the clearest and most famous UFO photographs ever taken. When Barnia's photos were published, they caused a sensation. Experts from the Romanian authorities and international UFO organizations analyzed the images. They concluded that the photographs were authentic and had not been tampered with. Barnia, who had nothing to gain from a hoax, and in fact risked his job by coming forward, stood by his story for the rest of his life, transforming the forest from a local spooky legend into an international paranormal enigma. With so many bizarre phenomena packed into one forest, everyone has a theory about what's really going on in Hoia Baciu. The explanations range from the supernatural to the scientific. Each theory tries to make sense of the twisting trees, strange lights, and missing time. One popular idea says the forest is a gateway or a portal to another dimension. That theory points to disappearances like the shepherd and the little girl. They didn't die, they stepped through a rift in space-time and ended up somewhere else entirely. Lost time is explained as a side effect of being near these dimensional doorways. Another leading theory revolves around ghosts and spirits. Transylvania's bloody history fuels the idea that the forest is haunted by souls who died violently centuries ago. Those restless spirits are blamed for the disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and the overwhelming feelings of sadness and anxiety visitors report. Physical marks like scratches and burns are seen as direct attacks from these entities. On the more scientific end, researchers propose the forest sits on a geological hotspot. The theory points to unusual magnetic fields or deposits of natural uranium as possible causes. Magnetic anomalies could make compasses spin and electronics fail. They might also cause hallucinations, anxiety, and dizziness in sensitive people. Low-level radiation could explain the barren clearing and the twisted growth of trees. Finally, there's the extraterrestrial theory, boosted by the 1968 UFO sighting. That idea says the forest is a base or observation point for alien visitors. The glowing orbs aren't ghosts but reconnaissance drones. The clearing is a landing pad, sterilized by the energy of their ships. The feeling of being watched is literal. People are being observed. This theory links the UFO sightings with the strange ground-level phenomena, suggesting a single otherworldly activity. Each theory is compelling, but without concrete answers, the forest remains a captivating and terrifying mystery. When you leave a place like Hoia Baciu, you expect to take home photographs, memories, a little bit of mud on your boots. But many visitors leave with something more, something they didn't ask for. Physical marks start showing up on their bodies. Not bug bites, not thorn scratches. Visitors report red rashes, welts, burn-like marks, with no memory of getting them, often in areas covered by clothing. Then there are the scratches. Long, thin scratches on arms, backs, legs, often in parallel sets of 3, like claws. No pain when it happens, only discovered later. Investigators say physical attacks from entities. Skeptics are baffled. Some say the forest follows you home, objects moving on their own. Strange whispers, recurring nightmares about the twisted trees and shadowy figures. It's as if they've picked up an unseen attachment, a spiritual souvenir they can't get rid of. The scariest part, your visit doesn't always end at the forest edge. The entities might follow you. What is it? A breakdown in the laws of our world, a nexus of strange energies, a playground for ghosts, aliens, something far older and more mysterious? Or just campfire stories amplified by suggestion? Only one way to know. Go there. But be warned. Walk among the twisted trees and you might leave with more than memories. Are you brave enough? The Hoia Baciu Forest waits. It has waited for centuries and it will wait for centuries more. The question isn't whether you'll find answers in those twisted woods. The question is whether you'll make it out unchanged. Enter if you dare.